allow me to stand on the protocols already established, but I will acknowledge my sister, the Honorable Rehema Jaldesa. Feel recognized in your various capacities. I also recognize Flone, who I'm told convened this together with the Women in Transport Africa. It's a great morning, but I'll start by telling our MC, I didn't know that Papo would look so good in a trouser suit. So we'll be having a conversation behind the tent. You know, Papo is my color. And we were also threatened with a suit by Kotu. We didn't have to shout back, but we waited for the suit. We are still waiting because someone would have to patent the rainbow, something we all share. It depends on how you use your color. It will not look like anybody else's. Ours has lilac, purple and lilac and white. So it's unlikely to look exactly like theirs. And nobody can stop anyone from wearing any color. So I have all the colors, including yellow, in my wardrobe because I'll not let anybody oust me from any sunny color I feel like. So once again, good morning. May I begin by saying how pleased I am that you've bestowed the honor of joining you today to talk about women in transport. This is a critical, we must confront the hurdles of women in transport as a critical truth. To reimagine mobility in Africa, we must first acknowledge that for millions of women, transport is not just about convenience. It's an issue of justice, of opportunity, of dignity, and much more. My journey from the courtroom to public service has taught me that leadership means staring down at systemic failures with stubborn courage. It means moving from diagnosis to action. Therefore, our reimagining must be bold and specific. And yes, it must be intentional. Why does this conversation matter? Transport is often spoken of as roads, vehicles, timetables, and budgets. But transport is far more fundamental than that. Transport is how opportunity moves. It is how dignity moves. It is how a nation's people access education, healthcare, work, and economic freedom. So when our transport system fails women, when it fails persons with disabilities, when our system fails the elderly, the young, or the vulnerable, the issue is not merely technical. It is a justice issue, it's an equity issue, it's a national developmental issue. And my sister has captured some of those. As we reflect on the realities women face in mobility, we need to hold one truth close. Transport is not gender neutral. It does not serve all of us equally. And for many women in Kenya, mobility is shaped by fear and invisible calculations of risk. The discussion is happening, as has been noted, during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a period when we usually talk about violence in homes, in workplaces, and online places. Thank you for holding this conference now, because we are talking also about violence in transport spaces. For millions of women in Kenya, violence isn't only domestic, it's also public, and it is structural. One of the key public spaces where gender-based violence occurs is our transport system. Let's consider the lived realities. We've already been given statistics that a 2021 study found that nearly 80% of women commuters in this city of Nairobi reported experiencing harassment in matatus, from verbal abuse to groping to intimidation. And it doesn't stop there. We all know that we had stories of women pushed to their death from a moving matatu. We all remember during the Gen Z protests, reports of rape of young women on their way home. We have not had any corresponding reports of how these cases have been treated. Our society normalizes gender-based violence. A woman doesn't think about the fare first. When it gets dark, she will think about safety first. Will the route be late? Will the conductor respect my space? Will anyone intervene if something goes wrong? Because when women are harassed, people are passing by. They don't see anything. They continue with their daily chores. In a matatu, the matatu will be full. It will not be full of women. Maybe there will be more men than women. But hardly will anybody raise a finger when the harassment goes on. So we also have a duty to sensitize society. And women ask themselves, can I walk home? Where that matatu drops you, can you walk safely after work? If you pick a boda, is it going to be safe? Even when you call a Uber, you still are considering, is it safe for me? That constant mental calculation is an emotional burden. It is a dignity tax on women, and which women pay daily. And that too is gender-based violence. What I would want to say is that I'm so happy that today we are with my sister Rehema here, because I'm going to call upon the National Gender and Equality Commission to please get statistics of women harassed in the transport sector. Push the police also to give us, and law enforcers to give us statistics in the courts. We want to know what has happened to matters reported, statistics on the court process. Have we secured convictions? Have we found justice for the women? Then at the national level, has there been any response from the national government? And for Nairobi, where the incidents are so high, what has been the response of the Nairobi County government? Because if we don't do this and we push them daily and we sort of give them a national scorecard, these things will continue to occur. And I know the Gender and Equality Commission does a report every year. Please be intentional about having various components. Gender violence in the home, gender violence in the workplace, gender violence in transport, gender violence against people with disabilities. And then we can be able together to add our voices to lobby for implementation of the policies that organizations and stakeholders here are helping enact at the various levels. So we need a national audit of where we are. And safe mobility is not just an inconvenience. It is a barrier to opportunity. When women turn down jobs because transport to that location is unsafe, they are excluded from those opportunities. Girls miss school because the route is hostile. Women entrepreneurs close early because they fear the journey home. And women living with disabilities face multiplied vulnerability, navigating systems that neither protect nor include them in their design. Imagine our public transport. We still don't have specific rules that oblige public transport to have access. Matatus should have a rack where a wheelchair can be able to get into the whatever in the buses. It's time. It's 15 years after the promulgation of the Constitution. It obliges inclusion, but we are yet to do something about it. So as we reimagine mobility, we need to be clear on this. It's not only a transport conversation, it is a justice conversation, a safety conversation, a national dignity conversation. We must shift from asking women to adopt to unsafe systems. Let us demand that the systems adapt to the lived realities of women. And one of the ways we can do that is to have enforceable safety as a non-negotiable policy, which must be translated to action. We will mandate when you do give me the mandate. She wondered whether I'll be buying. Yes, I'm certainly going for the top seat. I describe myself these days. Thank you. I describe myself these days as the standing president because there is a sitting president. So you're looking at a standing president waiting to occupy the seat at the earliest opportunity. So what I'll do differently is to make sure that the enforceable safety is non-negotiable and is actioned. Because it's one thing to have policy, it's another thing to action it. We also, and this is across all the transport sectors, ensure that from circles to digital platforms, we have training and we also have real-time consequences that you hear of an incident and you hear of enforcement the next day. The criminal justice system and the law enforcers have a responsibility not just to announce that they have arrested a person. They have a responsibility to give us periodical information of how those matters are moving. This does not only satisfy the stakeholders, it also serves as a warning to the people who are likely to repeat these offenses. The rising crime is because of slow enforcement or no enforcement at all. We also must have, I would ensure that there is infrastructure built for dignity. And that is across the board. Prioritizing well-lit streets, secure walkways, accessible stations. And when you do it at design, it at no extra cost. It is the foundation of inclusive growth. And even where it is already designed, putting in this infrastructure is part of the development we are talking about. You are unleashing the potential of more than half the population. Yeah. We also to ensure that women are at the center of the decision making, that they are there in the planning and in the execution, because it's the wearer of the shoe who knows where it hurts. We must have systems designed with women at the center so that the planning, the regulation, and innovation has the contribution of women. This is where leadership is tested. We have seen how empty alliances formed not to serve, but to shield failure. We have buried thousands in preventable tragedies. True national interest is not served by silence or by slogans. It is served by action. And action is what I would be offering. True national interest is not, it is served by accountable governance. We must ensure that enforcement is not an empty slogan, but a real-time reality across the board. We must, as leaders, lead with courage, and I pledge I'll do that, and that we also have the courage to listen carefully to the lived realities of women. And I may add, of all and of other sectors, because if you don't listen, if you don't hear, then you will not action. But if you listen and you feel, you get how it feels, you will be quick to ask. Commitment is not enough. Even if as a leader I say I'm committed, it's not enough unless backed by the stakeholders and by all people of goodwill. Translating policy to action takes intentional planning and execution. It also takes the choices we make as citizens. It depends on what leadership you choose. And when we say leadership, people just think about one seat, the presidency. Imagine even if you had the best president, they cannot become your governor or your county government. So we are talking of being intentional in how you elect the 6 leaders you elect in a general election. Remember that the county is nearest to you. It is the one that will be dealing with the daily transport issues you face. So how you elect your MCA matters. How you elect your governor matters, because the MCA and the governor equals your county government. Then you should worry how you elect your 3 members of parliament. They are the constituency MP, the women representative, and the senator. They are the ones who will be pushing at national level for policies and for action on those policies. If you're not intentional, you'll get people who go there, become busy as entrepreneurs, and forget you completely. And this cycle of slogans without action will continue. The icing on the cake is electing that team leader called president, because nobody works alone. All those are teams. We have government at 2 levels, county and national. So I'm saying that even the stakeholders have a role in ensuring that these actions happen. That is the future we must build together as Kenyans and as Africa. And when we do that, we'll also impact the world. I want to thank you. May I now, with pleasure, declare this conference officially open.